afternoon. Oh yes, it looks like I'm live. Fantastic. I hope it's the right orientation this week. I did start my orientation thing first, which is the key to that. So welcome along. And today I've got a few things to share. Stampin' Up have got a new tool which is available to demonstrators at the moment, and we can pre-order it until the 2nd of February, at which time it will be available to anyone who wishes to join as a demonstrator, and you'll receive the tool for free with your starter kit. So that's a great promotion. It's starting next month on the 3rd. And I was hoping it would be here in time, but alas, my courier hasn't arrived yet. So maybe next week, in 2 weeks rather. Right, so getting on with today's project. Let's flip. Now I've got to flip this around. Oh, the other thing that's happening is, please disable stream to cloud button first. Is that going to work? Oh no, we're good. Okay, just funny messages. Okay, the other thing that's just about to end is the bonus days promotion. So if you place an order up to over $110 before any discounts, you get a coupon to spend in February, and the coupon is $11. So it's a nice little extra 10% discount there. So that finishes on the 2nd of February, that promotion. And then starting the 3rd, you can redeem those coupons. Right, now getting back to last time's video, I had problems with my banner punch and my 3-banner punch, and I just wanted to show you that it is fixed. I did try during my video to drop it on the floor, and I found a better way of releasing it. So for all of you out there who've done the drop on the floor trick, my punch was jammed shut with some paper stuck in here, and my lovely man came home and I said, "Honey, can you help me fix my punch? I don't know what to do. It's jammed. I've thrown it on the floor. Nothing happened. It's still jammed." So he literally got a pair of scissors like this, and you don't want to use your good craft scissors that have a lovely point on the end. Warning. You want to grab just some office scissors that are kind of a blunt-nosed point, and literally he pushed on the center part, the center sort of opening of the punch. He pushed down on there and it just popped back out. So he was pushing this bit, so this piece here, away from this piece, if you like. So between that gap. Anyway, it worked a treat, and he just pressed on it, and hey presto, it opened. So I was very happy, and I'm happy to be able to share that tip with you, because dropping it on the floor is probably a bit aggressive. So I'm glad I have a new way of fixing my punches. So yeah, and lovely to have you along if you're joining me live. If you're watching the replay, welcome as well. Now today I'm doing a card that I saw on Patty Bennett's page, and this is the card here. So we're making this sample, and she's called it a triangle twist square card, and so it gets its name from the way it opens, this twisted triangle, and it's a square. The card is a square, and Patty made it using all kinds of different stamps actually, and the stylish shapes dies she used for the squares on it, and she had a square in here for you to write on. But I made a little pocket, and my place to write, if you'd rather write than stamp, is here, or you could write on the back. So I've made a little tag for that purpose. So I thought it was quite cute and a little fun fold for us. Haven't done one for a while. And I'm also showcasing where have they gone? The stamps and dies that are called Joyful Squares. I thought this card lends itself perfectly to using these square dies and stamps and things. So that's the stamp set there, Joyful Squares, and the dies do lots of cutting. So you've got a frame, which we're going to use, a solid square, which we're using, a circle, we're also using that, and then you've got these fun little corners. I haven't used any of those yet, but they're on my list of things to do. So yeah, quite a fun little set. There's some cute scrapbook pages made with it in the samples on the Stampin' Up website, and there's also some paper that goes with it, and I didn't order the paper, and then I'm kicking myself because I really wish I had it. So if you like the bundle and want to get it, I suggest getting the paper as well. So I'm just going to quickly, before I rattle on too much, just double check that I am actually live with sound. I forgot to check that. Oh yeah, all good. Perfect. Right. So what I'm using and what Patty suggested is the two-toned cardstock. So when it says cardstock, this is actually not the same weight as our cardstock. I had somebody say to me they were going to buy it and make it, use it to make card bases. And I said, oh no, it's not quite. So you won't be able to tell, of course. You probably can't see the thickness. But yeah, this one is definitely your card base one, the normal cardstock. And the two-tone is thinner than cardstock. It might be a little bit more than DSP, I feel. It's sort of like in between. Yeah, but more of a DSP weight, definitely not for a card base. But great for something like this because we're adding extra DSP to it, and that gives you the bulk. Like, so this doesn't feel flimsy at all when I'm handling it. It feels quite sturdy. So really good for something like this. And it just folds up nicely by using this thinner paper. Okay, so I've cut a strip. Got a funny finger mark there. The two-toned cardstock comes in 12 by 12 size. So I've left it as 12 inches long, and I've cut it to 4 inches strips. So you get 3 of these out of one sheet, which is quite cool. So you can go ahead and make multiples. Okay, so now we're just going to turn the card and pop it up here at the 4-inch mark. I am working in inches today. It just works when you're doing this type of project. Now I'm just thinking I might actually flip this over. I want the dark side to be on the outside, so I'm going to flip it for my scoring so that my channel is, no, I won't. I'll do it the other way, this way. So it scores down and you have the hump on the inside. That's what I want, yes, because the darker side is going to go on the outside. Okay, so I'm scoring it at 4, and you can either slide out the arm and score it again at 8, or you can just flip it round and do 4 on the other end as well, which is nice and easy like that. And then we're going to do a diagonal. So you want to, you're going to score from where that score line hits the edge of the card on this side. Now, I don't think I can zoom in on this one. No, I can't. But you'll see your little score line, and then you're going to score up to that point. So you want to lay the two-toned piece across like this, going left to right. And if it's easier for you, you can place a little pencil mark just at that point. Depending on what colour you're using, it might be easier to see. And then I'm just lining, if I can find a pencil here. So I'm just lining up that exact point where it meets the edge of the paper into the centre of my scoring, of my trimmer, where it's going to score. And then I'm just making sure that the point up there is also in the centre of that track. Okay, then with my scoring blade. Careful not to use the cutting one. You're going to score that. And then we're going to move it. So don't turn the paper in any way. Just slide it across. And then you're going to do the same thing, but this time your score line point is at the top and your paper corner point is at the bottom. So it's on the same plane as it was before. And again, you just want that point in the middle and the point in the middle here. And then we're going to score that. Okay, so that is our card base prepared. And we'll come back to the trimmer shortly. So from this stage, you just want to fold all the lines. So we're going to fold in on our 2 4-inch scores, like so, and burnish those lines. And then you're going to do just one at a time and take, so whatever the sort of the free side of your corner here, you're going to fold over. So this side's obviously attached with the fold. So it's the other side. I'm going to fold that. And I've done this the wrong way, haven't I? Yes. I've done it the wrong way. I'm going to, what am I doing? Yes, I have. That's why I was thinking about turning it before. Okay, I want this. Sorry, because I want the dark side on the outside. No, am I doing it wrong again? That folds back. Hold on, I'll have to fold it. It doesn't matter if you fold it wrong, and yeah, that is wrong. I do want it this way. You can just fold it back the other way. Okay, that's the way. Right, and now that one folds up. I'm doing a terrible job of showing this. And I've ended up with quite a gap in the middle. How have I done that? Anyway, that is how it works. So you want the dark side this way, if that's what you want. Face whatever side you want facing up to be your outside edge, the edge you see here. You want that facing this way. And then you fold these in and fold the loose corners back away. And then you end up with this triangle shape on the front. And then when you open it, it sort of twists. So that's how it works. I hope you got the gist of that. I will share photos in my blog post to help. Okay, so now we're going to cut. So you've just got to choose. So you can choose 2 or 3 patterns. I chose 3. And I decided to have my focal front one is the same as the inside one, just to sort of tie it together. And I really like this blue pattern. The paper I'm using is Mixed Up Patterns DSP. It's a 12 by 12 pack. And the thoughts behind it is that the paper got all different colours. I'll just give you a quick little look at it. And the idea is that these coordinate with different papers, different other packs. So you'll find a pack where something like this, more of a less detailed pattern in a different colorway, just expands on those other packs, if you know what I mean. So this one, for example, would go with Country Woods. I don't know all of the packs off the top of my head, but I think this one would be useful as well as a sort of a old olive background. You could use that with something. This is Blushing Bride. No, not Blushing Bride. Bubble Bath, I think. And this one's Old Olive. So they're just there to complement and just to make your other packs go further. So that's a cool idea. And I thought it was perfect for this because I didn't have the DSP that goes with it. But these patterns just sort of small end kind of work. Okay, so when you're doing something like this and you want, I'm going to cut my paper. I've got a square. It's a 4-inch square, 3 3/4 inch square of the Mixed Up Patterns paper. And I want the diagonal to be the correct way. So ignoring my one I've got there, you want to look at your one that you're actually doing, because I may have had it a different way. So just lay that on there and then say to yourself, I'm repeating Patty now, but that was a great tip. So I want my cut to be from there to there. So now when I lay that, just transfer it to my trimmer, and I'm just going to do that and make sure I've got it the right. This is probably not a great example because you could do it the other way and it would still work with this pattern. But if you've got a directional pattern, it really is quite important. So I've got the two side by side and I want my cut to go there to there. So then I just turn my paper so it's in my trimmer, again, point to point in the cutting track, like so. And I'm going to cut. Now, when you're cutting, and you're cutting from through a point to point, you want to start in the middle. If you just come at that point with your cutting blade, it will probably just dent it and misshape it. So always start in the middle and go one way and then the other. And then you're cutting not against the point. Okay, so that's those bits for the front. And actually I might just stick them on. Oh no, we'll come back to that. And then we've got the this panel here, we're putting this paper on. Again, it's not directional, but it's a good rule to stick to. So I've got my things side by side, and I'm going to cut from that corner to that corner. So I just spin it onto the track. Like so. Make sure they're in the center. And then again, start in the middle and go both ways. Right, so if we get rid of the trimmer, that's all the cutting. Trimmer cutting. There's die cutting to follow. Okay, so let's put these inside ones on. So now you have a piece for there and a piece for there. So I'm just using my trusty liquid glue. And when you're putting these on, you want them to come right up to the fold line. So it's going to have a border around 3 sides, and then it's going to come right up. And you can just check that you're not over by going like that. And just slide it. That's with the Tombows great. You can just slide it back a bit from that point. Okay, and then the same with this one. So it's going to go down here. So right up to the line. Even border. Just sliding that into place, and then I'll just check that it's not sticking over. No, that's pretty good. Oops. And then we'll do the same with the front ones. So when it's folded up, it's like that. And yeah, I don't need to worry because this paper isn't directional. But really good, because the number of times I've messed that up when I'm doing things on angles, and you just waste paper because you cut it, and then because of the direction, you can't actually use it. And you have to cut another piece. And we don't like wasting paper when it's so pretty. It's heartbreaking. Right. Now, I don't know if mine's going to meet because I messed something up there with the scoring, I think. But once my focal point is put on the front, it will be fine. I can just slide that a little bit. ended up with a little bit of a gap. I left that too long to do. Anyway, that's all good. Now, the next thing after that is to do some stamping. Let's do some stamping. So I've got a piece here for the front, and then I'm going to stamp this lovely border stamp. The swirly little border is very cool. So I'm hoping my piece is big enough. I'm using Secret C because my two-tone is Secret C. Okay, I'm stamping in the middle because I've got a die to cut this out. Want to make sure I've got a nice even border around it. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Get a little wash. Okay. And as I'm die cutting, so I've got two dies here. There's the one for around the outside, and there's also one for the center that cuts out the hole in the middle. So I'll just bring up my mini machine. I thought I would use the mini up on the desk because die cutting machine has kind of been a topic lately, and I just thought I would give a few tips while I'm doing this. So I don't know if you know, but the plates, they are numbered, but you don't need to line up the numbers in order for it to work. And really what you want to be doing is flipping your plates this way, that way, anyway. That top plate. Generally, I keep the bottom plate as the bottom plate. As you'll see, it's in a lot worse condition than the top one. Although the top one has got these cracks, and I really should replace that. But the bottom one has all of these really thin die-cut lines and a bit of colour to it. So keep this one for the bottom, but do turn it round every now and then. So I'll just give that a little spin now. And then the next thing is the plates don't need to be completely in a line. In fact, they say to stagger them sort of like that, or sort of like that, so that just so it, when you're starting off, it's not so hard to get it through the roller. Otherwise, if you can imagine, you've got all these layers plus your card and your die all in there, and this great big wodge is hitting the roller all at once. So just stagger them a bit. And I'll think of other tips as I go. I was hoping I could use this in here. With a square like this, again, you don't want the edge of that to be square on to the roller, because you'll get some funny noises, and it'll also be harder to roll it through. So put it on an angle, which is a bit more tricky with this machine, easier on the big one. I'm just looking for some washi. Here we go. Just some washi tape. And I put it on myself to get rid of a bit of the sticky. Nothing worse than stamping something beautifully, die cutting it, and then when you go to pull off the washi, it takes part of your image with it. Not a good look. So we'll just give that a little tape. And I think I'm good with the circle. Okay, so I've got my angle. My die is just on and no more the width of the plate, but I think we'll be okay. Yep. I'm just checking that I've got the plates covering the die corners on both of those corners, which I do. If your die was overhanging, there is extra width through here, and it's not going to break your die, but if you don't have the plate over it, it won't cut. So once it's caught, gone to the roller, I can then put my hand on the top, and it will still creak and click, clack, clock. That's all normal. Okay. Oh, I think my circle moved. Oh well. So now pulling off the washi, it's tempting to grab it from that end and pull, but I do find I want to be careful with where my stamping is, because I have had it, rip that. So I tend to go the opposite way to what you sort of instinctively feel like doing. Okay, so that is our focal piece for the front. I'll just get rid of these plates over there. Okay, and then that's going to go onto this piece, and I'm going to stamp some words in the center. So I've got little snippets of joy over here, which is really, I love the font, it's really cute. So I'm just put that where I want it. Now, when I'm stamping through a circle like this, it's important not to have any ink around the edge of my stamp, because it may get onto that inked, that already stamped white piece. So just carefully tapping there, and then trying not to get my head in the camera, stamping that in the center. Pretty good. Okay, and then that layer is on dimensionals. So this is a great place to use up those edge pieces of dimensional. It's good to put dimension on the outside, because the inside has to be all flat due to the you don't want the bulk of the dimensionals on the inside. Okay, so now I'm just lining this back up with the edges of my DSP out there, and then you can decide if you want to attach it to the bottom triangle or the top triangle, whichever you prefer. So if it's on the top one, it's going to be over there, and if it's on the bottom one, it'll be over here, and it will be turned, so you won't have it turns as you open. So I can read it here, and then I have to turn my head to read it when it's over there, but that's just how it is, and I don't mind that. So I'm just going to put that on a bit of glue, so, and it's going in the middle, and you can use these as a guide, like corner to corner there, to make sure that you've got it in the center as well. So I'm just going to go back a little bit from, just trying to work out. So my glue is going to go from there to there, which is there to there. So I'm not going all across to halfway, I'm back from halfway, because I don't want to get glue in the center there. And eyeballing it first and getting those corners, corner to corner. Goes there. With a bit of luck, it will open and not get stuck to anything else. Perfect. Okay. Oh, I need that again. Okay, now, so we've done, we might as well finish off the outside. So I've got a bow here that I tied with some of the old olive baker's twine. It comes in a pack with the early espresso. So let's put that on with a glue dot. I've stamped some leaves on the inside, and I just wanted to grab a little bit of that colour. I didn't want to use blue for my leaves. I wanted to use olive, but there was no other olive on the card. So by just adding this little bow, it just brings that colour into the project. And then it doesn't look so odd when you see it on the inside. Okay, so I just pop that there in the corner. And I've got some, what have I got? Low profile sparkle dots. And I've started writing the colours on the back so that I know when I'm trying to match them, you know, what goes with what. And so I'm just using the Secret Sea. So Secret Sea, Darling Duckling and Mossy Meadow in these ones. So I'll just grab and just put some of these around. And one just there. Cool. I think this would be, I toyed with the idea of making this into an album. Excuse me. You could, in the center here, you could add another strip like that. And if you made it, you'd have to cut it down so it wasn't as wide. But I thought that would make a fun little album. And then you've got more places to decorate. And you could leave, you wouldn't have to do these as folding ones. They could be straight. So if I go like that might give you a better idea. And then that would fold in, and then you fold this over the top. But yeah, you'd have to cut this down to make it work. But I thought that was kind of a cute idea as well. So I might have to play with that at a later date. Now I do have a little piece of glue, annoyingly, on there. Just get rid of that. Okay, so now we can decorate the inside, and starting off just with a piece of that Designer Series paper. It's the reverse of the blue one. And it's got sweet little flowers sort of on it. So that one's just going straight on in the center there. So these were cut 1/4 of an inch less, so 3 3/4. Okay, and I've got, so that's my base, and that's going to be my pocket. So let's get the things that we're going to put on the pocket. Oh, that's inside. So let's do the little inside where you can write your message. So this is Strawberry Slush. And this is from a stamp set. Oh, I might just need to. My ink pad's very inky, and just wipe that off. I'm just going to push some of the ink away. Just with the back of a spoon, I'm just moving some, creating a space where it's not so inky. And the ink will come back. It just makes its way back again because I had done that the other day when I made the first one. So you're not losing it, but you're just reproportioning it. Okay, so this is going to go on here. It's actually still a little bit bubbly. It's very juicy, this one. Let's see if we can just get rid of a bit more. Because the bubbles, when you stamp, it won't. It's still a bit bubbly, but I think it'll work this time. So I'm stamping that sort of near the bottom. Oh, see how when it's bubbly, you just don't get a clear image. You can sort of see the bubbles in it. So that wasn't great. So I might, normally this little trick works for just moving the ink away. Perhaps I just need to do more. does still sound quite bubbly, quite inky. It's a fairly new colour, which I don't use a lot. So, oh no, it's still got bubbles. Just try it again. Maybe just letting it sit for an extra little amount of time too might help. That's better, still not perfect, but we're getting there. So yeah, I have a very inky ink pad, so I'll have to have a play with that. But we'll move on. So that's for my little tag, and what I did is I've gone ahead and already stamped the shape for the little tab pull. So that goes on there. And I'll just attach that. And then I did notice when I was playing with my prototype that having just one layer here of cardstock, I found that the top of it was getting a bit bent as I was pulling it in and out of the pocket. So I die cut an extra one to put on the back just to give it a bit more strength. So I make them a sandwich. So I've stuck that one on the front, and then this one just goes over the back and just line it up. And I thought about putting ribbon, I thought about putting more of the green thread, but I thought it would actually rip the hole if you just were relying on that alone. So I think 2 layers is a good rule. Okay, so that's ready. Now we've got our frame. So I used the frame die from the die set, and it cuts out the frame just like this. So you get that, plus you get a square that came out of the middle. So I can use that for something else. So that was pretty cool. Right, now I'm going to stamp on this. Where have I put the stamp there? That's weird because it was working fine when I stamped that frame earlier with the same ink. Anyhow, it is what it is. So, maybe because this is just smaller. Now this fits perfectly if you start on the outer edge and keep the stamp in the same direction. So I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to go on the outer edge, and I'm looking through to make sure it's lined up on my frame. So that's your first stamp, and then if you turn this, your next stamp, if you do the same right out to the edge, they kind of join. It keeps the pattern going. Like that. I'm not doing the best job, of course, because it's hard to see through it and not get my head in the camera. There we go. And the last one, so I've already got that end done. So the last one will fit between those two. And it just gives you a bit more interest on the frame, which I felt it needed. So, and I'm going to do that same thing where I stamp through the frame, through the hole. Except this time I might not be able to leave it there because the stamp is a bit bigger. But we'll see how we go. Let's have a look. Oh no, I should be able to. So my ink, my trusty Secrecy. Just making sure I've got it centered top to bottom. Love these days. So you can see how this works, would be great as a set for scrapbooking, but I think it also is good for cards. And these sort of things where you're creating sort of like a keepsake, if you like. All right, so I'm going to stick this on. Heard a noise outside. Must be the neighbours. Although I am expecting that postie with my parcel. Okay, so that's the front of our pocket, and then I've just attached a little, this is one of the dies, just cuts out a little scalloped edge, and I thought that looked cute to add. I'm just going to put a very thin, in the camera, yeah, a very thin, oops, except there's a big blob to start with. Oh, actually, that's quite gummy. Just clean the glue. So I just want a thin drizzle across there. Try and stick it straight, and it's a good idea you can turn it over and see I've got a line here to follow on the DSP. I can just twist it slightly, get it straight. Okay, so then to attach this, I'm just going to put a thin layer or a thin line of glue again, just on the two sides and the bottom, leaving the top open. It's probably come in a wee bit far. Bottom down there, and then we can also just attach that bit fully. Okay, so this I want to center, looking like about there. Okay, and that's created a little pocket for my little message that I want for my recipient, and it's a good idea to put it in there before the glue sets so that it can just sort of raise up over that and allow for it. If you let it to sit, you might find it's a wee bit hard to get it in there if it's just flat stuck and dried, if you know what I mean. It's got a little bit of glue there, right. Okay, and then I went ahead and stamped and die cut two little leaves. These, the stamp and the die are from the same set. And I just, again, with that old olive, just something, I just felt it needed something else down here. So I've just got two little leaves to go on like that. It does have a love heart, which would have been cool, but unfortunately there's no die for it. But I have seen people stamp the little love heart on the frame, which is quite cute. Okay, so I'm just overlapping my leaves here a bit. And again, not using dimensionals because we need to keep this flat, so that now we're finished, we can fold it up. And we've got our sweet little card. Now, at this point, you do need to re-burnish the fold lines because we've had it open and shut and all around, and Vanessa had it the wrong way and all those things. So another good burnishing, and you can do this on the back to get it right in there. Just do all those creases, and it doesn't sit completely flat, but it's pretty close once you've encouraged that paper down in the right direction. It will just pop up a little bit, but I did put something heavy, although I've had this open as well today. I did put something heavy on that one and it did stay down a bit better. But once it's in the envelope, and of course it will fit in our standard envelopes, just like that, and it's a sweet little card. So I hope you enjoy that and decide you want to make some. I'd love to see what you make using this, and I'd love to have you join me again in 2 weeks' time for another video. I will be sharing this on my website, and I'll give you all the measurements and things on there. I'm not doing the PDF tutorials these days. I'm giving it all available to everyone on the website instead. If you're on my mailing list, however, you will receive a link to both the blog post and the video in an email from me in the next day or so. So, happy crafting, everyone, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.